Hi students, a very warm welcome to you all to the chemistry sessions. So, as I had discussed in the last session was the structure elucidation of the glucose. So, remember that or not? If not, let's just try to recall the concept first. So, what is structure elucidation? We had found out the entire structure of the glucose, that what all groups are present in it and how many carbons are present and what is the chain of the carbon, right? So, that is what we had discovered in the last session. So, that was first reaction which I had for glucose. I am just writing G over here, right? So, I had performed is HI, heated the reaction mixture, prolonged heating it was, so that it gets reduced fully, it gets reduced completely. I obtained was N-hexane, right? And from here what I inferred was, yes, it's a 6-membered carbon chain. Clear? So, that is one thing. Second thing, now I had to discover that what all functional groups are present. So, it was CHO which I had targeted. So, for that again I took the glucose, performed the reaction of the hydroxylamine, right. So, NH2OH I had taken up, and what I got? The oxime, clearly indicating that it's a carbonyl group. And another reaction we had done with the hydrogen cyanide, yes. So, we had got was the cyanohydrin. Now, from both of these cases I had confirmed that it was a carbonyl group which is present, right. Now, the third, again I took up glucose. Now, I was concerned with that whether this carbonyl group is associated with the aldehyde or the ketone. So, for that I performed the mild oxidation, right. It's mild oxidizing agent basically. What it does, it converted the CHO group which was present, which I don't know that there is a CHO group. I simply got the carboxylic acid in there. Then I inferred that yes, it would have been carbonyl related to the aldehydic. So, from here we got the idea that it's the aldehyde. So, we had got was the gluconic acid in this case, right. And I got the idea that yes, it's the aldehyde that I have. Third, right. What was the fourth thing? Now I was concerned about the remaining hydroxy groups which all are present. So, I didn't knew that yes, there are hydroxy groups. I just tried to perform the acetylation. So, for the glucose I did was the acetylation basically, right. And due to this acetylation I got the pentaacetate. And from this pentaacetate I got to know that I have got is 5 hydroxy groups, right. Next, I didn't know that what all kinds of hydroxy groups are present. So, whether it is connected with a secondary carbon or whether it is connected with a primary. So, to distinguish that, what I had done was, what was my last step? The last reaction that I did was the glucose basically. Again, I had made it react with a very strong oxidizing agent this time, and that was HNO3, the nitric acid, and I had got here is the saccharic acid. And even I did what? Again, here not the glucose but gluconic acid I took, right, and used the similar kind of reagent, got the similar kind of product. From both of these reactions, again what I inferred was, I inferred that yes, one of the hydroxy groups is, one OH group is primary, attached with primary carbon basically, right. From all of these things, all of these reactions, I got the idea that I have got the structure of the glucose. What is it? Everybody try to draw with me. RL, RR, remember? So, it's RL, RR, R, L, R, R, right? That was the thing. and that is the structure of the glucose that I had found out. D plus glucose. But you know what? The scientists were not satisfied by this also. By performing so many kinds of reactions also, they were not at all satisfied, because this structure didn't explain all the properties of the glucose. Here, what were the limitations of this structure? This structure could not explain all the properties of glucose, right? So what were the limitations? What all properties were not explained? What exactly? So they were, first of all, it was not able to explain one very important reaction, that is, it did not perform the Schiff space test. First thing, what is this Schiff space test? So basically, it's a test where there is the aldehyde group, let's say RCHO, and it reacts with RNH2, and again a similar kind of a reaction will happen. What kind of a reaction? That kind of ammonia derivative reaction, right? So in this case, we had obtained was an imine, right? What we had obtained? An imine. Remember it? So it's like C double bond, not C double bond, it's C single bond basically. Yeah, wait for a moment. R, C double bond N, and finally the Z. Let me just write dash over here so that you are able to distinguish it. So this is what? This thing, this species, it's the imine which is formed, right? But this is in the case of generally, this is the general case of aldehydes, right? But glucose did not give this reaction. Glucose did not give this reaction, right? And so many other reactions were also not given by glucose. That means whenever we tried to perform this particular reaction, it's with NaHSO3, right? It did not give any kind of product. Here, glucose did not give this reaction as well, right? So it did not give this reaction also. Wait for a second. Yeah. And now, so not even this reaction was given by glucose, not even this reaction, but yes, it did have this CHO group because the scientists have found out. So what was the problem that was coming here? So the problem actually was lying in the structure itself. Glucose, then they found out that it not only exists in this open structure, that is the open structure of glucose. Glucose also existed in another kind of a structure, and that is known as the cyclic structure of glucose, right? So the cyclic structure of glucose, then they found out, right? What is that cyclic structure of glucose? Let's discuss now. So basically glucose exists in the form of cyclic structures and that to a hemiacetal form, right? It's a hemiacetal form. Now, how does this hemiacetal form got formed? Let me just give you a hint over here that this OH basically got somehow attracted towards this CHO group and there was a connection. Just try to make the connection over here, then I will be discussing the exact structure of it. So, have you found out the connection between this OH group and the CHO? How they can get connected? So, basically there are lone pair of oxygen and these lone pairs can get attracted towards this carbon over here which has slightly delta positive charge. So, let us do that. So, let us form the structure here. So, it is like CHO I am expanding right now and the remaining structure for the glucose we will be writing down 1, 2, 3 and 4. RLRR, remember? Fine. Now, there are the lone pairs. These lone pairs, so basically it's delta negative, delta positive, got attracted somehow here and what has happened? See here. Right. Fine. Am I missing out something? Yes, the connection. So, let us remove that and make the connection over here. That is the connection and that is the cyclic form for the glucose. I hope everybody has got it. So, that is how it got connected and I have one OH group formed again, right? You can perform this reaction very well. It is a very simple mechanism, fine. So, that is the cyclic form of glucose, and it could be another form as well. Let us draw that. So, the another form for it could be when OH, this OH over here which is new introduced, right? This is the new OH. When this OH is towards the left hand side, fine. Are you able to do that? And what do I have to do here? Yes, again the connection I have to make. So, do not ever forget to connect while drawing the cyclic structure. So, that is how the connection has been made. I hope everybody is clear with it. Now, so you can see here there has been the difference of this OH groups present on the very first carbon. It is the very first carbon, it is the C1 carbon basically, right? So, the difference is in the OH. Here the OH is lying to the right, here the OH is lying to the left. So, basically the C1 over here is known as the anomeric carbon, right? And whenever this OH is on the right, fine, whenever this OH is on the right, it is known as the alpha form. Write this down that it is known as the alpha form, fine, or I can say alpha anomer. And whenever this OH is on the left hand side, like here, so this is known as the beta form or beta anomer. Clear? So this is the alpha form and that is the beta form. I hope everybody is clear with the idea. Alpha form, beta form. These two are nothing but the anomers. Clear? So these are the anomers and that is how the cyclic structures of the glucose look like. So I hope everybody is clear with the idea, and this thing right here, that what are anomers, what are anomeric carbons, you must remember this. It's a very important thing over here. Mark this as important. Never miss out this. Fine. So that was the cyclic structure. I hope everybody is able to do that and is able to make the connections basically. It's very interesting right here. Fine. Now, let's move on further. Let me just rub this. So I've got is alpha form and I've got is beta form for it, right? So it is the alpha form that I've got and the beta form. So there has been a little information about both of those forms basically. So glucose exists in both of the forms and one has 419 Kelvin temperature. The alpha form is having melting point of 419, right? It's the crystalline structure. It's the crystalline structure basically. And this beta form has got 423 Kelvin melting point, right? And again it's a crystalline structure. How it has been formed? It is formed at 303 Kelvin with a solution and that too a concentrated solution of glucose, right? In this form it is obtained at 371 Kelvin with hot and saturated aqueous solution of glucose, right? So I hope everybody is clear with the idea. Okay, let me just tell you one more thing over here, which is, see here, so it's the name for this anomer over here. So the complete name would be, it's like, right, it's alpha form, we know that, it's the alpha anomer, beta anomer. So it will be alpha D plus glucose, that is the entire name, right? And it's beta D plus glucose. Fine, got the idea about the two anomers here? Fine. Now let's take up a very interesting phenomena that I can, since you can see here that it is a ring which is getting formed. So let's try to make the structure other way around in a form of a ring. It would be better representation actually. So let's do that. So what we are just going to discuss is, this is known as the Haworth projections, right? So it's known as the Haworth projections. Right, Haworth projection. Now in Haworth projection, I'll be dealing with is the cyclic structure, so basically it will be a cyclic structure, fine, and that too similar to a pyranose structure, right? Similar to, it will be known as the pyranose structure. Why pyranose first of all? Because have you seen a pyran ring? What is a pyran ring? It looks like this. This is a pyrene ring, and a similar ring would be formed in the case of glucose. How? See here, I have got is 6 carbon atoms. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6th is the oxygen. So I have got is 6 members over here making such a pyrene ring. So let's do that. So I have got is oxygen. So I'll be representing the oxygen over here. You need to make this down like this. Fine. This carbon over here will be known as the carbon number 1. So that will be C1. That is C2, that is C3, C4 and C5. Fine. Now let's see what C1 has. Right. This is C1. Fine. And it has OH to the right hand side. So whenever the OH is to the right hand side, you need to write this OH below, right? You need to write this OH below like that. Always remember the OH which are represented to the right hand side, these OH should be represented whenever represented in a ring to below, right? Next, there is another OH which is again to the right hand side, so I'll be depicting it again below. Next, another one is opposite to it like that. Next, another one is again below, right? And the next C over here, I have got is, I'm left with this a carbon and CH2H basically. Fine. So how will I be going to represent it? It is like this. CH2H will be represented up because it is down in the structure. So it will be other way around every time. So if in the normal structure that I have represented, it is to the right hand side, the anomeric carbon. So I'll be depicting it as downwards. Fine. So that is how it goes whenever we use the Haworth projection. That was the Fisher projection that I had taken. So it's this. And what is this? It is the alpha plus glucopyranose, right? Now the name becomes not glucose but the glucopyranose. I hope everybody's got it because it is somewhat related to the pyrene structure. Clear? So let's make the other form of it. So it was the alpha form because of this anomeric carbon alpha. Let's make the beta form then. So in the beta form, the OH is towards the left hand side. So I'll be representing it as upwards. Fine. The other one, the rest of the structure basically remains the same. So you can exactly copy it. So it's like this. Clear? So it's the beta form. This is the beta carbon that I have. So it's beta plus glucopyranose. Fine with the idea? So I hope everybody has got it. That is the Haworth projection, and to be very precise, I can just bold it so that I am able to represent that in 3D, right? Why I am bolding this? This side lies towards you, right? So it's basically out of the plane. Clear? Now let's take up the structure for the fructose, right? So now it will not be in hemiacetal form but a hemiketal form in the case of fructose. Let's do that. So what is the structure for fructose? It's CH2OH, remember or not? C double bond O, and the rest of the things will remain the same. That means LRR, right? I'm removing R. Now I'm left with LRR. So it's CH2OH at the end. Right? So it's like L, R, R. Clear? Clear about it? So it's basically, it's an open structure and is known as, it's D form, so it's D minus fructose, right? Always remember that this form over here which we are representing, it's minus, not plus. Remember that, right? It is going to help you whenever you are writing down these names in your examination. It will fetch you marks, right? Now, I need this cyclic structure of it. Again, let's join it. So, how can I join it? See here, it has got lone pairs. So, I can connect it to this side. Fine. What I get? See here. I am removing this off. CHO, sorry, not CHO, but yeah, it is going to be right. OH, CH2OH, fine. I have just made this group to come over here, right? And there will be an OH, another OH produced. That is what I have done here, and this is this particular carbon that I have, right? It's the C2 carbon. And now, the remaining things, let me just write that down, 1, 2 and 3, fine. So, it's like this OHH, OHH, and what is the remaining part? It's like this, which I have to connect, fine. What I am left with? CH2OH. Now, how many carbons? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. I have left nothing, right? It's the perfect structure, and yes, what do you see? OH to the right hand side, it's the alpha minus fructose that I have here. So, can you form the alpha plus glucose? Sorry, not alpha plus glucose, but beta minus fructose. Can you form it or not? You just need to shift this anomeric OH to the left hand side and I will be getting my product. And a similar way, we will be drawing the Haworth projection for it as well.